I'm Michael Diamond. This is Muscle Central. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and leave a comment. Okay, talking about Samson Dauda. Many people will say that once Samson Dauda nails it, brings in that conditioned package that we're waiting to see. Once he hits it, he's unbeatable. Nobody's unbeatable. Yes, that Samson, it will be extremely difficult to beat with his height, his width, small waist, he has beautiful structure, the shape of his muscles, everything is there. Now, that, along with knockout conditioning, is going to be extremely difficult to beat, but not unbeatable. First off, you got to keep in mind that you're being judged by a panel of judges. There's no objective, not like you're throwing a ball through a hoop and you're scoring a point. Judges are looking at you and in a subjective manner, and they're making a decision on who's the winner. Now, yes, there's criteria they look at, but we're all individuals, and everybody's perspective on that individual criteria is going to be different. Nobody's unbeatable. Samson, the same. I remember Dorian Yates saying that when he stepped on stage, he didn't want the judges just to look at him and say, wow, that's a great physique. He wanted them to drop their pencils and say, what the fuck? To beat that Samson, you need to out-freak him. You need to have you need to bring a WTF moment where the judges drop their pencils and their jaws and just sit there in awe. Who we have out there right now that can potentially create that moment? Now, I do have Hadi Choopan ahead of Samson less than a week at the Arnold. That's now. But we're talking a little bit further down the line. Now, as far as Hadi goes, he's at a point where if he makes improvements, they're going to be small. He's beyond the point where you can see any drastic changes. While on the other hand, you're going to still see those changes with Samson. Even though I have Hadi ahead of Samson less than a week, I don't think that Hadi would be able to bring that WTF moment that would be able to knock out a prime condition, full-blown Samson. Derek Lunsford, the reigning Mr. Olympia, I'm not a hater on him, but I personally think that he should have placed second in this past Olympia. And there are obvious things, obvious flaws that he has. I remember when he was 212, and by the time he stepped on, he looked great leading up to the shows. Everything was full-blown, legs and everything. But by the time he stepped on stage, when he dieted down, stepped on stage, He lost in his chest. His arms weren't the best, and his legs seem to be affected the most from the dieting. So now it's he had to suck down to make the 212. So that's why. So now open, it's not an issue, but it really still is an issue. It wasn't as pronounced as it was when he was 212, but his arms are still lacking a little bit. He's still a little bit behind. His chest still needs the filling out, and he loses the most on his legs when he dies down, even as an open. I just don't think Derek can still make significant improvements. I don't see Derek bringing that WTF moment. I do see someone like Nick Walker bringing that WTF moment. If you go by on an inch for inch basis, okay, Nick Walker takes the back seat to Sean Clarita here, but on an inch for inch basis, besides if you take Sean Clarita out of the question, nobody is packing more muscle on their frame than Nick Walker, and his structure isn't the most ideal, but he just keeps on packing more and more muscle. The muscle's going into the right places. Shoulders are getting bigger, chest is getting bigger, arms are getting bigger. His legs were always good, but I think his upper body did overpower his legs a little bit. But that's all changing also. He's never going to have that pretty physique like a Samson Dauda. That's not going to happen. But like Samson Dauda, who's been making very significant improvements show to show, Nick's right there also making those same improvements show to show. The crazy muscle that he carries on his frame and the way the muscle is distributed, and like Hardy, maybe not exactly on the same level, but like Hardy, Nick brings terrific conditioning show after show after show. If there's anybody that can, as Dorian put it, bring a what the fuck moment, make the judges just drop their pencils and say, what the fuck? It's Nick Walker. That's what you need to beat a prime condition Samson Dauda. That gets to my next point. I think this Olympia is going to might be a little surprising to some people. We'll get a better idea over the next few months exactly where it's going. When we see Samson and Hardy on stage battling it out at the Arnolds. As of now, they're both supposed to be doing the Arnold UK also. And then when we see Nick Walker, who unfortunately missed last year's Olympia, and we see the package that he ultimately brings to the New York Pro stage. But what we're seeing so far is pretty crazy, and there major improvements, and he has 13 weeks to go. Then he has a good amount of time leading into the Olympia. I would not be surprised at all, I wouldn't be surprised at the very least that if, when smoke clears coming this Olympia, we might not see a showdown between Derek and Hadi again. We might end up seeing a showdown between Samson Dauda and Nick Walker. You might agree or disagree with what I've said. Either way, let me know in the comment section. This is Michael Diamond. I'd like to thank you for watching Muscle Central.